goal with this?
I think so, and I hope that maybe I went too fast because I'm always going to keep talking too fast. I apologize if I went this too fast. But one of the key things that fusion centers do is to weed out the odd request, or they're referencing whatever municipal police department or sheriff's office sees something and says, "Gee, I read something in the paper. I saw a TV show, for example, and terrorists do that. I think, and I saw this in my local neighborhood. I'm going to kick that up the chain and get to the MIAC. The MIAC, because they have developed expertise, can say, no, that's not it. We know that this is not an indicator. There's no indication of that kind of activity in your area. Anything's possible. We don't think so. Don't waste your time on it." And so it saves resources, in truth, to have an effective functioning MIAC to weed out, like I said, the misdirected inquiries, the false tips, the false leads. So that's a key thing that it saves resources to have a MIAC. So supporting the MIAC is about finding insurance. It's smart thing to do in the long run. And kind of go to your point too, one of the things that I think a lot of people who read this report, or maybe didn't read it closely, or maybe they didn't read it at all and they read it about it in the paper and were concerned and sent a lot of emails. I think which one sent a lot of emails. I believe these are good-hearted people, and they're as good a citizens as you want to have by and large. But it's kind of the same thing as when the Patriot Act was enacted. One of my jobs I got as the ATAC coordinator was to go around, I can't tell you how many public meetings and church groups and everything else I went to describe, here's what the Patriot Act is, and if you read it, which, like a phone book, I would bet right now I'm the only person in this room who's read the whole thing. If you read it and understood how it was devised and what the protections were, et cetera, it was not alarming. There were a couple things like, that's a little bit of a reach, but they've been tweaked over the years, and again, it was a reaction to a major attack on our nation, and so it was crafted very quickly. But the Patriot Act, in terms of being a scary thing with Big Brother coming to do things, it didn't happen. There have been very few changes in it. Almost nothing that was ever found unconstitutional, and those minor provisions that have been amended by Congress. The Patriot Act effectively is in the same shape now it was, and I would wager that most people in this room and most people in our nation, plus our state, have made no changes. The most sensible people have made no changes in how they live, what they've done, or what they do in their free time, or they look at pornography. People live the way they live, and the Patriot Act didn't change anybody. Words some people who read some articles and were misled by it, just like this MIAC. They worried some people they read about it, but if they read it and if they put it in context of how law enforcement works, they wouldn't be as worried. That's not to say it could have been worded better. It could have had some provisos. It could have been reviewed by a privacy panel. My suggestion would possibly have an attorney. Some naturally recommend an attorney gets involved at some level, but it does make sense to have some kind of either privacy attorney or another attorney involved at some level, and that's in part though because, and I recommend an article to you if you have time to look up. There's a publication, it's a law journal, but it's not your standard law journal, called the Greenbag. You think lawyers maybe have read about the Greenbag. Tammy Greenbag II is the citation of the article. Jim Comey, who was the Deputy Attorney General of the United States, it's at page 439, wrote an article called Intelligence Under the Law. It's really good. It's brief, and it's to the point, and it's not exactly the point I think what your committee's looking at, but it describes, in the first half at least, why lawyers get trained to be analytically, if they pay attention to law school, and kind of do exactly what intelligence analysts are supposed to do. And there's no magic. We ascribe some magic label to this is intelligence. It must be something that is extraordinarily difficult, but they're smarter than me. They work for an intelligence agency. That's not so. They are analytical, hopefully, and they're bright and concerned. They look at details. There's something called atypical analysis, and hopefully they do that. They bounce ideas off one another. They consider all the possibilities. They choose their words hopefully smartly, with care, and the level of review gets in place, and the product then is useful. The product that generated this series of hearings maybe wasn't as useful as people would like, but again, putting it in context and had it been reviewed maybe one or two more times, or some wording change, or just a simple proviso added here and there, saying these are suggestions, this doesn't mean you're supposed to pick on any particular person, things like that. The flat could have been handled differently. Again, my concern was that the response was out of proportion. Both the public response and the governmental response was out of proportion to the harm, if there was harm, and that the response actually has set us back in this state. We were a leader, and that's, again, not to Dave Hall's a terrific guy. He's doing a great job, and I've heard nothing but good things. I mean that because I'm still staying involved in the community of law enforcement. He's done a great job, but he's learning. Van Godsey was down the road a little bit, and in terms of his abilities, and he was completely well connected on a national level. And the MIAC was one of the leaders on a low budget of fusion centers in our country. Whatever the committee may recommend in terms of legislation or oversight, I just hope we don't go backwards. That's why I kind of wanted to go into that kind of brief intelligence analysis of the world situation, looking down the road for 10, 15 years or whatever, because like I said, we think, oh, we can wait on these kind of things, the federal government's going to take care of it for us. The CIA, the CIA is a wonderful agency too, but there's a whole book written by Tim Weiner. If you read that, you'll think, holy cow, how have we ever had the CIA get by this long and come about this dismantling because of so many mistakes that they've made over the years. The good things they've done don't get publicized. The good things in MIAC have done probably don't get publicized either. So yeah, that, I've kind of rambled on. I apologize for that. Any other questions?
I'm going to recognize the gentleman from St. Louis City. I believe you have a question.
Yeah, a question and a comment. First, my comment is trying to understand the unease of many people who have a problem with this report, and to express my unease is how broad and general this predicator of crime is. You know, when you talk about military, it really gives me an unease. Are you saying that military service, serving in a foreign country, is a predicator of crime?
No. They didn't come back. I don't believe I came close to saying that, so that would be a misunderstanding.
Okay. So, so that's still a part of my unease when we talk about predicators of crime, because it's so general and so broad. So if that's what you understand that, but it is still problematic for me, and to understand the unease of people, it's just so broad. So that's something that I would like to see my colleague talk about in terms of what I've heard from her saying to identify those predicators. So, but my question is this, and I know you said you speak independently, so I'm going to ask you personally to assess the terror threat here in Missouri and that abroad. So, and how do you feel MIAC has done in terms of impeding the terror threat here?
With the proviso that I retired from the federal government and my direct involvement on a regular basis in this almost a year and a half ago, not quite, a year and a quarter ago. So I can't tell you what the MIAC has done other than bits and pieces at most of that time. Up to that point, the MIAC was doing very useful work in both helping to clear false leads and helping to plan for catastrophes, all types of catastrophes, including terrorism, and working with other agencies and their intelligence units as well, for example, the JTTS, in terms of getting that information flow back and forth. They are the recipient of information and making assessments as to where the information needed to go. In other words, if the FBI receives information of an intelligence nature from the CIA, for example, and says, be on the lookout because this particular group or a sub-part of this group seems to be present in Missouri somewhere, the MIAC would have to make a judgment based on its knowledge of the area. Like, do we need to put this out in a statewide bulletin? Do we just need to tell the sheriff in that particular area? Do we only need to tell the town there? They make professional judgment as to who needs to know and distribute information wisely in that regard to avoid alarm and to avoid also besmirching people's reputations. If the information proves not founded or not well-founded anyway, you don't need to spread information about people needlessly. The MIAC was doing a good job up to that point, in my view. And that's not to say they're doing a bad job. No, I just don't know on a daily basis what they do in the past year before. And in terms of your first part of the question about the terrorist situation, I do stay abreast of some of the information. I still have a secret clearance. I have